talking all this time on mute, so I'm unmuted. And I'll just start the story over again. But anyway, to save time, I basically had attended a virtual summit, and there was a gentleman there who was just talking to people about, where they are in life. And it just had me thinking about a time of when I was stuck in life, where I was just totally unable to move, or so I thought. I had this glass ceiling, or I thought I had this glass ceiling. It's like no matter what I did, I couldn't move forward. And I was just wondering, is this all there is? Is this where I'm supposed to be? I was wanting more, but couldn't get more. And so I thought I was just wanting too much. And at this point in my life, I had just gone through a divorce. My daughters were young. They were 1 and 3 years old. I had just completed my master's degree, so I was exhausted. I had a lot going on. I had a full-time job. I had a contract position on the side, and I was just trying to live life, but reality was I was just trying to make it. But every day I just felt stuck. So when this gentleman said what he said, it really drove home to where I was in the past. But luckily for me, I got to a point where I had a break in my life, where I was able to move forward, where I no longer had that glass ceiling, where I was able to start creating my life. So when he said what he said, it just reminded me of that. But of course, my wheels got turning. So I wanted to share this with you all. So basically, he was saying that where you are in life is where you're exactly supposed to be. So if you're feeling stuck, yeah, it's because you're supposed to be stuck. If you feel like there's more, but you can't get more, yeah. And that's because you're operating at your max capacity. So when you think about where you are, you're doing things based on everything you've learned up until that point, based on your experiences, based on your knowledge, education. You are where you are because of what you've learned, as well as the behaviors you keep having, the habits you keep exhibiting. Think of the things you do over and over and over again. What are the habits you do when you first wake up? Where do you go when it comes to your social life? Do you even have a social life? Who are the people you're interacting with? When you think of your future, what are you doing? When you're having fun, what is it you choose to do? So those habits, those ideas, those thoughts, even your feelings about situations, your beliefs, they're all in response to your life experience. So of course, you are where you're supposed to be because you're at your max capacity. But then I started thinking, well, no one should be stuck. Because when I work with my clients, and even myself, or just people in general, it's like you can get unstuck. But in order to do that, you have to do certain things. So one thing is, and I got this from Myron Golden, don't let your past imprison your future. So a lot of times, especially when it comes to our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs, they're created based off of our past experiences. So we're carrying our past with us, and we're doing things based on our experiences from our past, and they ultimately impact our future. So if you're trying to move forward, and you're operating from your experiences from your past, like if you've had those painful experiences, if you've had that wounding, and you've made choices to not do certain things, not trust, not open up, not connect with people, never to get into a serious relationship, or you only get into certain types of relationship, or you're just going to date multiple people and just have surface level connections, you're basing that off of your past, and it's creating your future. And you're always moving into your future because time never stops moving. So if you're focused on, decisions based off of your past, you're always going to be in that stuck feeling, and you're just going to move forward like that. The other thing that came up, and this is something that I started thinking of because I really do a lot of work on getting clear on your authentic self-identity, because a lot of times our self-identity is formed based on our experiences from the past. And if you have comments, please leave them. I don't see them. Like I said, I'm using this, okay, I might be able to see them now. All right. I'm streaming on LinkedIn, my Facebook group, and my personal page. So I hope I get to you all. But anyway, so when it comes to your self-identity, if you have made those subconscious decisions based on those past experiences to do certain things, to have certain beliefs, to have certain feelings, your identity is based on that past experience, based on that trauma response, based on that pain, based on that lesson. And while it's important to learn lessons, what we don't want to do is create our identity around those lessons. So what you have to do is make sure that your identity is not mirroring your past, but your identity mirrors your future. So you have to think, where do you want to be? What kind of life do you want to live? What type of person do you want to show up as every day? What do you want to experience? Once you determine that, then of course you start to form your identity around that desire, that dream that you have. So if you are someone who wants to, sorry, Alexa's talking.
Water. This is your last water reminder.
Water reminder. So let's drink our water.
Please relaunch the skill every morning for daily use.
Stay hydrated, everyone, is so important. But if you want to have a different life, if you want to get unstuck, you have to get clear on your self-identity, and you have to break it from your past experience and attach your identity to what you want your future to look like. So for example, let me use a simple example. If I want to be someone who is full of energy, who's active, who's healthy, instead of saying, okay, well, you know, I'm going to do what I've always done, and let's talk about, you know, body image. A lot of times our subconscious thought processes around our body image. If you were someone who is always teased or bullied because of your body, I grew up very skinny, so I was always teased for being too skinny. So for me, I just never accepted my body. That was my body image issue. And then when I gained weight, I didn't accept my body. So I never accepted my body, right? So this is me being transparent. So I'm gonna use myself as an example. So moving forward, I didn't have my ideal of what I wanted to be. I based things off of my traumatic experience from my past, where I just didn't have that self-acceptance. So my identity was kind of formed around the fact that I'm not going to be accepted no matter how I look. So I did not have things in place so that I looked like I wanted. And it was a subconscious thing. So, you know, I know people ask questions, well, why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? It's subconscious. And when you have a subconscious thought process, a lot of times you're not even aware of it. You're not aware of why you're doing certain things or why you're not doing certain things or why you keep doing the same habit that you know is bad, but you just can't break it, right? So that my self-identity, I wasn't clear on who I wanted to be, what my dream body, what my version of healthy was, what I was going to be happy with, because subconsciously I was getting in my way because I was tied to that past experience of being bullied of how I looked, no matter what size I had, right? So I had to get unstuck from that. And there's a lot of things I had to get unstuck from, because when you've gone through certain things and you don't work on resolving that pain, you don't work on dealing with those feelings, they just stay there, they don't go away. So then the next experience you have, if you don't deal with it, sits on top of that. The next experience, it sits on top of that. And before you know it, you've got layers and layers and layers of things that you have dealt with, their unresolved pain, they're in your mind subconsciously, and you've made certain decisions or certain commands about how you're going to operate in life based on those past experiences, because it's that unresolved pain or that unresolved trauma that you're carrying with you. And then of course your self-identity is wrapped around that. So like I said, you got to get clear on what you want in your life. And then you have to detach your self-identity from those past experiences. And you do that through healing. And that's something I'm very big on. You have to heal And you can't just do random acts of healing. You need to have awareness around what caused your pain. You have to have that clarity because you have to focus your healing on that. And everyone's experience isn't the same. I mean, I just shared with you my experience of how I was bullied when I was slim. There may be somebody else who, like, when they were slim, they were the ish, right? They didn't have that bullying, so they don't have that same experience, but they may have a different experience that I would never conceive in my personal life because it just didn't land on my plate. So once you have become aware of what your issues are, and you do this through healing, and there's a healing process that I use to help you get to the root cause of your pain, so you can understand your patterns, understand your beliefs, understand why you're showing up the way you're showing up Monday through Sunday, why you keep getting stuck in these same type of toxic relationships or toxic friendships, why you're stuck at these toxic jobs or these dead-end jobs, why you won't move. I help you get down to the root of that, so you can have that clarity, you have that awareness. Once you have that awareness and you can see the patterns, because you got to remove that veil and see the patterns of what you're doing, then you can start being very specific to your healing patterns or your healing efforts and focus them on breaking those patterns. So a lot of you follow me, you hear me say, break the pattern, break the cycle. Those are the patterns and cycles that I'm talking about, and you have to break them. And as you break them, think of all those layers I just mentioned. You're able to start breaking down those layers, and you're very intentional about this at first. But then once you really get in the habit of healing and doing other things, what I call subconscious reprogramming, where you reprogram your subconscious mind so you're not living off of those commands you gave yourself based off of your past experiences, then your intentional healing and undoing those layers, they just start happening where those layers just come undone, and they just come undone. And then you start experiencing those quantum leaps in your life where you just start moving forward and you start jumping forward, and you're no longer operating from that stuck place. You're no longer operating from that place, your capacity, because now you're operating from a new capacity because you've expanded that capacity. It's not just based on your past experience, it's based on, the fact of you have new beliefs, you're developing new feelings, you have different thoughts, you have new habits that you're intentional about, you have new behaviors, and that in itself breaks habits. So you have that going on. And then once you're able to really get into that flow of being intentional about your healing, then you can start working on your authentic self-identity, because your authentic self-identity needs to be tied to your future, not your past. So once you start having those new beliefs and you have that new consciousness and you have that new capacity, your future desire is different. So if you're someone where you've had that wounding in the past and you've had those experiences and you're carrying them, your future is decided upon with that veil over your eyes, where when you remove that veil and you start breaking down those layers, the future you want starts to look different than what you imagined before, because now you're making decisions from a different place within you. It's not that wounded place, it's that healed place. And then you can have that authentic self-identity. So before, where you were just like, oh, I don't believe I can be in a healthy and loving relationship because someone was just going to see me and they're just going to reject me or leave me, just like the last person did, just like my father did or my mother did, or just like, in this situation in the past where you were rejected. So you're carrying that rejection, but now you're not looking at, oh, I'll never be in a healthy relationship because I'm always rejected or I've been abandoned. Now you've healed that rejection wound. You know different about yourself because you see the value that you bring. You have different actions and behaviors in your life where you've created different standards and you have different values, and you're able to show up and have that belief of, yeah, I am worthy of being loved. And I know that I have what it takes to be in a healthy relationship because I have this characteristic, I have that characteristic, and you've built upon it. You're a great communicator. You're able to be vulnerable. You're able to connect with someone. You're able to have those difficult conversations. You're able to vet the right person who is aligned with you instead of choosing someone from your wounded place. You're choosing someone from a healthy place. So that comes with that healing and that subconscious mindset, that subconscious reprogramming that I talked about. So those are the things that have to happen in order for you to get unstuck. So back to, and I got 2 notebooks with notes. If you were to come into my house, you're going to see lots of notes because I write and I get things out. But, and plus, because I forget things, so I have to write them down. But so going back to that statement, you're operating at your max capacity. You will always be operating at your max capacity. But what you have to do is form your identity to be aligned with your future. But before you can do that, you got to do that healing, and you've got to do that subconscious mindset reprogramming. You've got to start having different behaviors and different habits. So here are some things that you can start doing to challenge yourself so you can move from being unstuck, so you can expand your capacity, so you can make sure your max capacity isn't just limited to your experiences of the past, and you can start creating new experiences that are aligned with your future. So number 1, of course, is be honest with where you are in life. If you know that you're unfulfilled, if you're unhappy, you don't experience peace, you can't sit alone by yourself and be content with the happiness that you create, it's time for you to be honest with yourself that you have got to start doing things differently within your life. You have to make different choices. And the first choice that you have to make is that you have to do something different, and you may have some healing that you have to do. And if you aren't sure about, if you have some healing, you can always reach out to me. We can jump on a call. We'll do a complimentary session where we can talk. But once you've gotten honest with yourself that you need to do something different in your life, then you can start doing these other things. So number 1, finding your confidence. And I know confidence is a big thing. And, a lot of people say, well, how do I find my confidence? Well, you start by doing the things that scare you. Now, don't go jumping feet first into something big because I don't want you to do that. Don't, say I'm afraid of heights and go skydiving or anything like that. I mean, unless you want to, because that is a great way to face your fear of heights. But there are other smaller things that you can do. So, for example, if you're someone who is afraid of being alone, go take yourself out on a solo date. Take yourself out to eat by yourself. Find your favorite restaurant, go and order your favorite meal, get your favorite drink, and enjoy it. If you're comfortable with socializing, go sit at the bar. I do that all the time. I meet great people. But you have to step out and do something new. Start that new hobby. Go on Groupon and see what they have a Groupon for some new activity that you've never done. Go to Eventbrite and find an event, or Meetup and find a group that's doing things that you like. Or even if you're on Facebook, there's a lot of Facebook groups. I've met a lot of great people from some Facebook groups where we were just doing like-minded things. Like-minded is the key. But there's opportunities for you to meet new people, do new things, try something new, okay? If you live in a metro area, you have no excuse. There's plenty of things to do. You just go to a website and find things, okay? So that's finding your confidence, right? The next thing, be open to change or doing something different. So if you're someone that's a creature of habit, it's time to break that habit, because those habits could very well be tied to some trauma that you had in the past. There's certain things you don't do, certain places you won't go. And it's because somewhere along the line in your life, you made a decision that you're not going to do certain things because of that trauma. Now, I want you to be very smart about this, because I don't want you to say, oh, I decided that I'm not going to go out late at night by myself because someone chased me one day. That's a great lesson to learn. Keep that lesson. Don't go out late at night. Be smart. But when it comes to certain things, let's say you've gone to an event and you had a bad experience. Well, that experience may not be in relation to that event, and that event could be anything. It just may have been a one-time thing. It's okay to try to do something different. Go to another event that's similar in a different location and try it again. A lot of times, we hold ourselves back because we have one bad experience and we're never going to do it again. That's not a way to live. You're always going to be holding yourself back because life's not perfect. Okay, so be open to change, try different things. You're never too old for change. You're never too old to learn. You see my cat in the background. He's a grown-up cat. He's learned some new things recently, because you can teach an old cat new tricks. You can teach an old dog new tricks too. Same thing with people. Explore new things. One of the habits I have is I love exploring something new. Put me in a different city, put me in a different state. I'm going to explore, and that's just something I've always done. And when you do that, you expand your consciousness. You have different experiences. You are able to see things from a different perspective. So I'll tell you this, travel is a great way to do that. If you're someone that's never left your hometown, it's time to leave. If you've never left your state, it's time to go. If you've never left the country, make a plan to plan a trip outside of the country, somewhere safe. And there's a lot of safe places. There's a lot of travel agents who can help you determine a great place to go, and go and explore and experience that. If you go to a different city, go somewhere to a different restaurant, go shopping somewhere different, do something different and explore and allow yourself to get curious, okay? And that curiosity helps you have those different experiences. You learn new things. The next thing, don't just dream, take action. So how many times do you sit back and say, oh man, I can't wait to go on that trip, or I want to do this new hobby, or I want to go to that restaurant, and you just sitting there thinking about it, but you never make that plan. Maybe the reason why you didn't make that plan is because you're waiting on someone else. Maybe because you don't have realistic steps to take, maybe because it's fear, or maybe because once again, you made that decision in the past that you're not good enough, or you're not deserving, or that if you do it, you're going to fail, or that's not for you. You're not the type of person that does that. I actually had someone tell me the other day, there's a retreat that we were both familiar with, and she decided not to go because she felt like it wasn't designed for someone her age. Reality was, majority of the women that were there were in her age group. Had she gotten curious and looked, she would realize, oh, this is absolutely for me. I can go. I would have had fun. But she didn't get curious. So become curious and allow yourself to move forward. But don't let that stop. And don't let that stop you, because that's going to stop you from making your dreams a reality. One of the things I do in my mentorship program is I have my clients go through what I call the embody phase, because you can sit and watch all the videos. You can watch me all day. You can get on YouTube. You can get on podcasts. You can read books. You can do workbooks. You can do it all. But until you embody what you've learned, until you've taken those new beliefs, those new decisions, and put them in action, you're going to stay stuck. So I have them go through the embody phase. And in that embody phase, we get really down about creating specific action that needs to be taken so you can start making your dreams a reality. And it's not just regular old goal setting. Oh, I have a goal of, I want to make 6 figures, or I want to go to Bali, or, I want to lose 20 pounds, yeah, that's a goal. But then it's like, what do you have to do to reach those goals? What gets in the way of you reaching your goals? What's your mindset like? What's going to stop you? So you get really clear on that type of goal setting so you can manifest your dream life, because manifestation doesn't come just from, just your thought process. You have to have actionable steps, and you have to be intentional and consistent in order to make your dreams a reality. And a lot of people don't do that. As a matter of fact, majority of the population does not do that. So if you want to move forward and be that small percentage that does live the reality, there's certain things you have to do in order to make those goals real. Okay, so number one is don't just dream, take action. So the very first step of deciding and planning is something that you can do. And I know a lot of you following me can plan, because a lot of you are high performing women, you're ambitious women. You didn't become ambitious or high performing by sitting around not doing. You planned, you took action, you were intentional. You have to do that in other places in your life, okay? The next thing, surround yourself with people living out your dreams. So this is something that I really had to get clear on, because when you decide to surround yourself with people who are aligned with you, it also means shedding off other people. And that can be very difficult if you're someone who is loyal, if you have a big heart, if you're a people pleaser, if you're an empath. Letting people go is very hard for you. And I get it. I was that person. Now, no brainer. But you have to get to a place where, once again, you get clear on your authentic self-identity, get clear on what you want your life to look like, get clear on the goals you want to achieve. And then you make sure that the people in your life are aligned with that. Now, some of those people may already be living out those goals. Some of those people may be working on goals, and they don't have to be the same exact goals. They could just be similar. I'm an entrepreneur, but I'm a mindset transformation coach and a registered nurse. Someone who's a lawyer may be an entrepreneur if they own their own practice. Doesn't mean, well, I'm a nurse and I'm a life coach. They're different. We both have similar thought processes. So that is similar. But you want to be around people who are doing those things. You also want to be around people who truly clap for you. And I'm not talking about, yay, you did a cartwheel, that type of clap, because that's fake. That's not genuine. You want people who would genuinely support you, want to see you succeed. Because let's be real, there's some people who want you to succeed, but they don't want you to be more successful than they are. Okay. And those people are right in your face. They're your family. They're your friends. They're the people who push you to do certain things, to say, oh yeah, go ahead and do that. They really don't want you to be more successful than them. And you have to pay attention to that, and don't doubt yourself, be honest, because those red flags are there. But you have to let those people go and allow those people who truly, genuinely support you, love you, want to see you succeed, who are doing the same things that you're doing, or who are ahead of you. You want to surround yourself with those people. And it's important because as you grow, as you heal, as you evolve, as you develop these healthy beliefs, as you start doing these different habits, you're going to have a different speech. You're going to talk about different things. You're going to talk about achieving goals that other people would be like, oh my gosh, that's too big. Where you're like, no, it's real, because I'm surrounded by people who actually have done it. And you don't want those people around you who are crabs in a barrel. And some people are crabs in a barrel and it's obvious, where other people are those crabs in a barrel and they're really sneaky about it. They give those fake compliments that, yeah, you did a cartwheel type of compliment. And you're thinking, oh, they're clapping for me, but really they're not. So you have to get real on the people in your immediate circle, because that your environment, your tribe is huge. And if you don't have that support system as you're healing and you're growing, you're going to stay stuck. All right. So the last thing, challenge your beliefs. And this goes back to, the very beginning of, you have to make a choice that you need to do something different. You have to make a choice that you may need some healing. And you start by challenging your beliefs and you ask yourself why. I like to do the 5 whys. Like if you have a belief about something, ask yourself why. And then when you come up with that answer, ask yourself why you believe that. And then you continue on for at least 5 times until you get to the root of your belief. And your belief can be, I'll use that example of, I believe that I don't deserve love or healthy relationships, right? So you start asking yourself, well, why do you believe that? Well, because love hurts. Well, why do you believe that? Well, because I got hurt in my last relationship. Well, why? Well, I love someone who hurt me. Well, why? Well, that person was an ass. So the reality is love doesn't hurt. That person hurts you. That person and their characteristics and how they showed up in life caused you emotional pain. Okay. It wasn't love that did that. Love doesn't do that. But subconsciously, you thought love hurts. Reality is that person hurts you and you love that person. That's not wrong, but you love the wrong person. And now you're going to arm yourself with the right tools and strategies so that you won't get hurt by that person again, because you're not going to deal with them anymore. And you're going to learn to vet people differently than how you had vetted that person. You're going to have different strategies in place. You're going to look for different things. And part of that is you developing your standards and your values, and finding someone who aligns with those. And then having your deal breakers that align with your standards and values, and then also having your healthy boundaries. So then when you have someone who doesn't align with your standards and values, you have those boundaries in place and you can be like, deuces, I'm gone. You're not meant for me. I'm not meant for you. Right. Now, while nothing is guaranteed, you start to decrease those experiences and you're able to see that, you're able to bring in people who are aligned with you, who are ready to do, have that healthy relationship because they're doing their healing just like you're doing your healing. And they've challenged their limited beliefs just like you've challenged your limited beliefs. And they have standards and values that align with yours because they've done their work and you're doing your work, right? And I know that's like a simplified summary, but pretty much those are the things that you go through. And that's what I take my clients through in my mentorship program. So that's pretty much it. So, just in closing, just remember, you are operating at your max capacity and you will always be operating at your max capacity. And in order for you to increase your capacity, you have to stop letting your past imprison your future. And your identity should mirror your future and not your past. So it's time to do some healing and create your most authentic self-identity. And if you want to learn more about how I can, and for those of you who don't know me, my name is Paula Nicole Good. I'm a mindset transformation coach and a registered nurse, and I help women, ambitious women, high-performing women, women like myself, heal the emotional trauma from their past, break unhealthy relationship patterns so that they can find that peace and that happiness in their heart and learn to have that healthy love and find that healthy love. So if you want to learn more about that, reach out to me. We could jump on a call, or I have a free workshop I would love to send you so you can learn more about how I go about doing that. So I want to wish you all lots of love, lots of peace, and many, many blessings. Have a good night.